The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on KwikTag. My name is Allie Phillips, and I'm in Sales and Marketing here at the TM Group, and I will be your host. Joining us today from KwikTag, we have Mary Miller, who will be presenting today's webinar, so a huge thanks to her for taking the time to be here with us today. Just a couple of things to go over before we get started. If you have any questions during the webinar, please type them into the chat or questions windows, and I will read them aloud to Mary at the end of the webinar. And also, we will be recording this webinar today, so you will be sent that recording within the next few days. Thank you again, and I will hand things over to you, Mary.
Thank you so much, Allie. We're really excited to join you all today, and I also am joined by my colleague, Sean Fitzgerald. So I will, without further ado, just set the stage for what we're going to talk about today. In the process of digital transformation, maybe if you attended last week's session, it was on AP automation and getting invoices through a very automated process. Today, we're going to turn our attention to that process related to expense reports and expense management, specifically integrated with Dynamics GP. It truly can change everything in the way that you think about expense reporting. So I don't know about you, but I'm really excited to see what this can do for your organization. I know what it does for ours and for many, many companies that we work with, and it really does change the game. And you'll see that when my colleague Sean demonstrates it for you. Again, no pressure, Sean. So this is the two of us, and I head up marketing and channel here at KwikTag, and Sean is one of our senior account managers, has worked with the TM Group for years. Sean, do you want to take a second to say hello, introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey everybody. Good morning. Thanks for being here, and excited to show you what's the latest and greatest with Quick Expense.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean. So without further ado, I'm going to dive into some data. Now, you are super cutting edge, state of the art. I hope you feel really privileged to be seeing this information. It is hot off the presses. I'm sharing with you brand new data. Why do I say that? Well, the reality is we share data. We work with an organization. Maybe you've heard me talk about it before if you joined sessions like this in the past. We work with an organization formerly called PayStream Advisors. Now they have merged with a company and rebranded under the name Level Research. They are really the Gartner of the finance and operations, procure to pay types of accounting and operational processes. So they do ongoing research, much as you would expect, specifically around payment applications. So they look at, things like accounts payable, like we talked about last week. And they look specifically at expense report processing, everything that goes into that, and the related processes involved for the individuals who have to book expenses and submit them, and then for the approvers who are responsible for managing them, and then also for the accounting team who's responsible for processing all of those transactions. So this data is brand new from the latest Level Research Travel and Expense Report that just came out at the end of December, beginning of January. So new data to share with you. What makes that so exciting is that you can probably relate very well to the organizations that were researched here and the data for which is being presented here. So what does this tell us? It tells us in companies like ours, expense reports today are primarily submitted, if you look kind of at the left-hand side of the chart here, the 24% and the 30%, those two colors, the dark green and the red, are a combination of employees use a combination of spreadsheets and scanned receipts to submit their expense reports, and the dark green paper receipts are mailed to AP. The other two categories, of course, are that they are starting to use more automated tools. Some use a dedicated cloud expense management tool, and others use an expense management tool that's part of the ERP system. Those people are probably already KwikTag customers, so we're excited about that. So the whole point of this is that there's a lot of room for growth. And so you know where your organization fits, right, on this pie chart of how you submit, how your organizational employees and contractors submit expense reports today. So there's a lot of room for growth. And we look at that so that we can see what the options are as we take this step on our digital transformation path. Remember, this is an ongoing evolution, so to speak. So think about the way that your company has expense reports submitted today, and then we're going to show you some ways that that can be improved with automation tools. So the next step in the process, once expense reports get submitted, of course, they need to be approved. And in that same research study, it's shown here that the ways that expense reports get approved are, and I'll start from the bottom and work up since the top one says combination, that we have designated travel managers approving expense reports. That's that tiny little 2% dark green at the top of your pie chart there. Red, and by far the largest percent, 58% of expense reports are submitted to the employee's direct manager for approval. That's the way we do it here. That's the way that most of our clients do it. My guess is that's the way your organization does it as well. And then a small slice, the light blue there, the accounting department is responsible for the expense report approval. And then 38%, a combination of them. And we can tell you from our experience working with a lot of companies, many of them like yours, that that big red chunk of the pie is certainly the largest that we see, and the combination usually involves the direct manager, and then it goes to the accounting department for some sort of final kind of review or edit, make sure the coding is correct and that kind of stuff. So we'll take a look at how reporting approval is also automated when you add KwikTag to the mix. So why take this step? Why go down this path at all? What are the challenges associated with doing it that way, with having paper expense reports sent into accounting and manually processing receipts and stapling them to the spreadsheet and sending it in? Well, the same group of people that told us what their expense reports, how they were submitted, and who approves them shared this data with us. Well, the number one challenge is manual entry of the data and routing those expense reports around. Again, many of you can probably relate to that. And then flip and put your accounting hat on for a second. You have zero visibility into that spend and the travel data ahead of time, projecting liabilities, of course, for things that are on the budget, that are on the plan, events and things like that. It's a little bit easier to plan and budget for those kinds of things. But, sales teams, consultants, you've got groups on the road, whatever, training, those sorts of services, that kind of thing can add up, and you have very little visibility until you receive that expense report with those receipts in your hand, often in the mail. So those are kind of the number one and number two challenges. The others, of course, are things like lost expense reports, lengthy approval times, because think about those approvers, right? If 58% of department managers are responsible for approving expense reports, what if those department managers share the same on-the-road experience or out-of-the-office experience as the sales, travel, and the other services and teams that they support are also on the road? So they're often not in the office as well. So again, Sean's going to demonstrate how we can help automate that process as well. Certainly, all of these things add up. The challenges convert to hard dollars and cents. What does that look like? Based on the same data and research, it's projected that the average cost to process an expense report manually is $26.60. So think about, in your organization, how many expense reports do you process every month? Now, we've got numbers and examples and benchmarks galore, of course, but I'll pick a safe conservative number of 300 expense reports per month. Just that alone is representing $8,000 a month in cost. So the time that it takes, the paper, the process, the lost reports, those that have to be redone, the mailing, the postage, the shipping, the rework, all of that goes into those numbers, $26.60 on average to process a manual expense report. As you can imagine, those numbers add up, I'm sure, within your organization as well. But again, as you're building a business case for supporting how you can go digital and why you should go digital, use these data points as metrics so that you can help tell that story to the executive team who needs to approve that. So what does all of that mean when you add KwikTag to the mix, and specifically Quick Expense that we're going to focus on today? Well, in our experience with customers over 21 years, we encourage them first to capture the information. In this case, that information is a receipt. Oftentimes it comes to us in a printed format. We take a picture of it. If it's emailed, we can send it on. So capture that data digitally as early as possible in the process. You'll see how that works in this situation. Integrate with the systems. You saw on that chart, those that are beginning that automation process, many of them have an integration with their ERP system. We're going to demonstrate for you how that works specifically within Dynamics GP. So you want a process and a system that's going to integrate with the tools you already use. And then automate as much of that as possible. The receipt submission, the report routing and approval, the creation of the transactions, all of that. So capture, integrate, and automate. Those are kind of the three key themes that you'll see throughout the demonstration. And so with that, what you're going to see next is an expense management demonstration with QwikExpense, and I'm going to make Sean the presenter so that he can share that demo with you and walk you through what that looks like when you're using QwikExpense as your expense management solution, and we'll share examples of how customers use it throughout that process as well. So Sean, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Mary. Did I make the transition?
Yep, we see it.
You're seeing my screen? Perfect. Okay, so let's jump into this. Now, one of the things, and Mary, I didn't look at the rest of your slides before this, so sorry if I'm about to steal some of your thunder.
No,
but one of the things that I'm so excited about with our QwikExpense solution, our employee expense management solution, is, and Mary did just kind of speak to it, this fact that QwikTag does so much all in one system. So I'm kind of backpedaling here a little bit, but again, QwikTag is a document management solution that can capture documents from anywhere. They don't have to be integrated into your Dynamics ERP solution at all. So you can use QwikTag. Easy example is for human resources, right? Employee files. Let's say you're a company that's 100, 200, 300 employees. You haven't automated yet in HR, and filing cabinets, in the HR department full of employee files. You can put all those in QwikTag. Okay, so that's just one example of document management that maybe you weren't thinking about, right? But yeah, then we are embedded in Dynamics, ERP solutions, GP, deeply embedded in there. And you saw some of that with AP automation on the last demo. And now what we're showing to you is a purpose-built employee expense management solution. And I chose that term purpose-built very carefully because that, to me, is the big magic about QwikTag, that we have all three of these things: doc management, invoice automation, and employee expense management all in one solution. But that employee expense management is purpose-built. Some other solutions out there in the marketplace will say, well, receipts are kind of like invoices. We already do invoices well, so let's see if we can kind of manipulate our invoice solution to work for expenses, right? And they're very different solutions. So this, what I'm going to show you right now, QwikExpense, again, to beat the point into the ground, is a purpose-built expense management solution, and we're really, really happy to show it to you. And but that's the holistic thing with QwikTag, is you get all this in one. Okay, so let's take a look. What are we looking at here? Well, this is the dashboard for QwikExpense, and this tells me, a few things. I have my receipts on the left-hand side. You can see the little header here in the top left-hand corner, and then I have reports over here. And we'll dig into this, but we're actually not going to start here. This is, Sean, the end user's dashboard. I'm the employee with receipts and everything, and this is my dashboard when I log in. But I want to back up a second and show you a little back office on QwikTag. So I'm going to click over here on the Reconcile tab, and I don't have access as an AP person. I just have access as an employee. So I'm going to do a little imagine, if you will, on you guys right now. It's the same thing, but so I'm going to upload a statement. I'm going to put on my Sean, the accounting guy, AP person, back office hat for a second, and I'm going to bring in our file from our corporate card statement. So in our company, we use American Express as our corporate card. We have that distributed to, let's just call it, 20 different people that all have their own individual American Express card, and it's nearing the end of the month. I need everybody to get their expense report in. Things are due, whatever this is called, 5 days from now. Okay. So I, as Sean, the AP guy, I go to American Express. I log into our account. There is our corporate statement, right? With all 20 different users in one giant, huge statement. I download it as a Excel, or CSV file or something like that. I have it on my desktop. I, again, Sean, AP guy, come in here, and I'm going to upload that entire corporate card statement. I'm going to browse out, grab one, and I don't have one, but I would just come here, double click, and I would load it right in here. Okay, so what's the result of that? Well, it's going to give me some statements, and they're going to look like this. Now, again, repeating this, I know, but my view is just as Sean. But if I was the AP person, I'd see not only Sean department manager's receipts, I'd see all 20 users' receipts, right? So I'd get a list of everything, and it would show me in red. The little red box there on the left tells me that these are actually missing receipts. If there were receipts that were already made part of an expense report, they'd be green, things like that. But the real magic when the AP person back office uploads this statement, the American Express or whatever corporate card statement you have, when you upload the statement, the real magic in that is the notifications that go out. Okay, and here is mine, just Sean, the employee, right, the sales guy who's got to do a report. Here's my email that I got. All right, so this automatically came to me, but in my example, just to continue, all 20 employees just got, their own individual email. The January American Express expense report for Sean is available, but it has missing receipts. Okay, so number one, if I have not done my report yet as the end user, I'll have every one of my receipts on here. Okay, as missing receipts because I haven't done my report yet. I haven't put them together. KwikTag says you're missing those. Okay. If I have done it, I've gone, wait a minute, I already did mine, but I'm missing 3. Now I know I got to go back and find the 3 that I'm missing. Okay. So it works kind of either way. I'll tell you the way we do it here internally is we wait till we get this, and then we're like, oh, it's time to do my report, right? That's kind of my notification. And then I can see that, oh, I got to do a report. I better have these 3 receipts in it. So I can kind of, I'm going to go in here and do these right now, but I would have this on another screen and kind of match them up to make sure that, oh, this lines up with what the system says, right? That's just a little real world application sidebar cheat there that we do. But here's what you do. So that's back office. That's, load all the receipts in there. Great. All 20 users have them in there. What do I mean have them in there? Well, here's the end user experience. Okay. So I'll come in here. Now I'm follow the bouncing ball with me a little bit. Now I'm back to Sean, the employee who's got to do his own report. I'm no longer the AP guy. So I'm Sean doing my report, and I'm going to come here on my receipts dashboard on the left-hand side. I'll see I have 3 incomplete receipts, right? Well, I remember I just got the email telling me that, so I'm like, yeah, that's right. I haven't done my report yet. So I'll just click there. And what these are actually, these aren't the transactions yet. These are the receipts. I put these in there, right? So I took a Uber ride with Lucy, and that was $10. I got a receipt. I sent it in there. Okay. I had a meal for $55. 2 weeks ago. Snapped a picture of it right there on the table at the restaurant. Boom. Emailed it in. It's just sitting here waiting for me, right? And then and a couple made up receipts here, but $300 on an airline receipt. Okay. So my receipts are waiting for me. Great. All I have to do is add the receipt data. So I'm still Sean, employee. I got 3 receipts. I got to build a report. I'm going to add receipt data. Okay. And this is where we do this. Come right down here to payment type. I'm going to choose Amex. Sean, what does that mean? Well, watch. When I do that, there's my transactional data. So because in my situation here, and we can do reimbursable or corporate cards, I'm starting with corporate cards. And when I show you this, obviously this system, as we already looked at, right, all this data was loaded into the system on the back office by AP. So my end user experience is, oh, great. I don't have to, that's that much less I have to enter. This is my $300 airline receipt. I'll double click on that line item, and it populates these fields for me. It gives me a receipt date here. It gave, airline and seat fees, so I don't know what it is. I have the $300 already entered. The only thing it doesn't know what department I'm in, so I'm going to tell it sales, and then the type of expense that it is. And this is travel. Now, important here, these things, that's the GL coding, okay? And for all of you on the phone, most of you are probably AP folks, you're like, no, that's not coding. Well, it is, because on the back end, we're going to resolve that. We're going to reconcile that to the proper GL distribution code for you. Okay, we're not going to bother trying to train all your, you can't train all your employees. They're going to, you guys know, you folks in AP know that no matter how much you tell your employees, there's going to be those that still get them wrong. So I might not be able to learn and remember from month to month my GL codes, but I do know that, hey, I'm in the sales department. I can remember that. And I know that, hey, that has a picture of a pretty airplane, so that must mean that it's travel, right? And then I can figure out those things. And if you want to build out any more selections like this, any more index fields, as we call them, that's fine. Obviously, what these are relating to are segments of your GL, right? So as much as you need to add those custom to this this experience on the screen right here, we could add more fields. Okay, so that's it. So I have now, quickly coded the that one receipt, and so I'll just submit that. It takes that. Now I just have 2, so I'll go here and do add receipt data. And we'll do the same thing again. American Express. This is my restaurant for $55.
Hey, Sean, while you're doing that, I want to just ask you a quick question. One of the things that I get asked a lot, maybe you do too, as you're demonstrating this particular aspect of quick expense is, I see that you're on the add receipt line item level. So if that $55 needed to be maybe divided between 2 departments, let's say, we had a dinner together and we needed to allocate 50% of it to marketing, 50% of it to sales, whatever, could I just add another receipt line there and separate that as long as it totals up to the right number?
Yes, you could.
Awesome.
Yes, and I'm looking at something. I think I chose the wrong one.
You picked the dinner one, but somehow it's showing you the car one.
Well, no, I think I picked the wrong one. I think I got moving too fast and picked the wrong one. Yeah.
That's okay. You could change it.
So let's do that again. You have to cancel that? I've never done that.
Cancel it. Yeah, you just have to cancel it. That's all. Yeah. Just go back.
I've never made a mistake before, Mary.
So sorry. Everyone, another first for this group, right? Yeah. You got to witness brand new data. Now you get to see Sean make a mistake.
I don't know. There we go. So $55. Okay, so we will go to sales and meals. Okay. So we will submit that. Okay, so what you're saying is actually, I guess if I wanted to split it, I could just, I did too late for that, right? Because I already put it in there.
Yeah, you'd have to edit the one line item and then add another that was equally distributed or whatever.
Let's submit this one, get it in there, and then I'll show you what you mean here. So if I want to go ahead and add receipt data, and we'll do our last one, we'll drop that in there, and then if I want to make this, if I want to split this $5 between that, right?
Right.
And
so everybody, we're asking the questions that you're thinking, but if you have other questions, please, as Ali suggested, go ahead and submit them in the GoToWebinar. But that's one that I get asked when I'm demonstrating it quite a bit, so I figured you probably do as well.
Yeah, so I would do submit and then add the line item here. Same thing, except this time it's going to go to accounting department because Mary's in accounting and we shared a ride and we're going to split the cost. This is travel and we're going to put $5 in there.
Perfect.
Okay. There we go. So yes, you can split them out.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean.
You bet. Good suggestion. So I'm done, right? So what just happened was my report, my expense report just got done for me. All I have to do is index my receipts. I don't have to do anything in terms of sending that off. Okay. It automatically got generated for me. So we'll go right here and click on that. And this is going to be my American Express statement now. So this is my expense report for those 3. So here we go. So those are those 3. And this is just for me, Sean. I haven't submitted this yet. It shows it to me. It totals it up. I can see that it's $365. Yep, those are all my receipts. As you can see, this one is split out like we just showed you. So, yep, it's $5 to that one, $5 to the other one, $5 to accounting, $5 to sales. But I can do, as the employee, I can review this if I want to, is the point. Once I'm good to go with this report. So as you see, to reiterate there, I didn't create an expense report. The system created it for me. I just, over the course of the month, I just sent in my receipts. The back office uploaded the data for me. I matched those 2 together. The system created my report for me. All I have to do is come here and go like this and then say send for approval. Yeah, I like it. I'm done. Send it off. And that's it. So as the end user, my experience is, what was that, 2 or 3 pieces of data to enter for each line item, and then take a quick glance at it and send, and I go back to work. I'm done. That's my expense report. Okay. So this goes to CFO, Mary, right?
That's right. Mm-hmm. But maybe we could take a quick look at the accounting view before we go there. Now that everybody can see that it's green, if you hop back over to Sean and the reconcile view for a second. Yeah, see?
Well, no, that's the other one. Here
I know,
you go.
but
Here's January. Yeah. So January was red, now it's all green.
Yep. And check that out. We can see that it's pending approval because there's that visibility aspect, right? You submitted it, but you're out in the field. Accounting doesn't know what's going on. So this is really kind of cool visibility for accounting as well.
Yeah, so this is now under pending statements for me. And so it shows me that all 3 are matched and 0 are missing. Okay.
Very cool.
All right. So I'm Sean, department manager. So I did a quick thing and it went to Sean, CFO. Top right-hand corner, you can notice I got 3 tabs, a KwikTag open along the top, but top right-hand corner, see it says Sean, CFO. So now I'm logged in as a different user. Sean, CFO. I did a little refresh there a second ago, and you can see I have 1 expense report that is pending my review. So Sean, CFO, has to go in and approve the report. So there's the report that we just did. And so Sean, CFO, can open this up. And if I want to see the receipts as Sean, CFO, I'm like, $10 fine, $55. He spent $55 on a meal. What the heck? I might want to look at that receipt and see what's going on. Okay. So I can come up here and do an approval on this, right? I can approve or reject this report. But if I have any issue with these individual receipts, I can do my approval or my rejection right here at the receipt line as a receipt level as well. Okay. Can open these all up. And so just wanted to see we have line item approval and rejection as well. Okay. So I can approve from here. You saw the email notification pop up, I'm sure. So I'll show you what that looks like as also. But I can just come right in here as Sean, CFO, and I'd click approve expense report, and I'm done. Comments are optional. And away we go. Okay, so that takes it out. So really quick and easy, visibility to the receipts if I need them. Now, if I want to do that via email, that's going to look like this. Come in here. Here's the same one. You can see this one just came in. That's telling me that it was approved. But here's the one that just came in. So the expense owner is Sean, department manager. He sent me an expense report for $365. I can see the date range that it is. Looks like it's the January report, obviously. And then there's the individual line items on it, right? So I can see how they're split out in geocodes and see if I agree with everything. And then if I'm on the road, right? I'm not logged in, but I can click on this and get to the actual images. So if I need to see the images, they're always right there. Oh, it's a trip receipt. I can't read that. That's too small. Well, let's make it bigger. There you go. So I can have access to the receipts, even from my email approval as well. Okay. So back to that email approval. So that's that, and then you can do the approval right from email. Okay. And
I think you're looking at the one that's already approved. It was the next email in your list. They both come in at the same time. So as the user, you got a notification that your report's been approved.
Yeah.
But here's the one to review. Yeah, you're good.
Thanks, Thanks. You're right. I looked at the one telling me it was done. Here's what the CFO got.
That's how quick it was. How cool is that?
Yeah, it was. Here's the one, the same thing, right? You can see where I got confused. It's the exact same layout, except I have the approve and reject buttons at the bottom. So if I'm the CFO, I'm on the road, I'm approving for Sean, department manager, I'm on my phone, I can look at this and just go 365, restaurant. Yeah, this is all pretty standard stuff for Sean. I'm not worried about that. Tap the green button for approval, and it sets up an approval email. I hit send, and away we go. Okay, so a couple taps, and you have you've approved it right from email. Okay. All right, so what happens next? For those of you that were here last week and saw the invoice approval solution that we have, this is going to look very similar because it works a lot the same way. KwikTag is embedded off of the additional menu by the way, to well over 70, almost 75 plus screens inside of Dynamics GP. And so QuickTag functionality becomes available right here. Tag document, view document, search, and view work queue. This is what you would have seen Mary showed you last week for the end of the AP invoice approval process. Well, this is the end of the approval process here for expenses as well. Okay, so we will bring these in, and here is mine right here, right at the top. Okay, so this just came in, and you can see our purchase amount, $365. There's a couple of them there. We were practicing yesterday, making sure this works. So that's why you see that one there and that one there. But these are all payable to American Express because this is an American Express corporate card statement. So as the AP person, I just come in here. Now, if I want to see some information about this, I can. I can say, well, show me the details on this transaction. I don't have to look at it, but if I want to, I can. And so it gives it to me right there. I can see the different coding there at the bottom and how it's all broken out to the different accounts. 365 is the total. And in fact, if I want to see the document, I can too. Again, it takes me back to that view of the expense report. Maybe this is a little easier to digest view. I can see that. Wait a minute, I want to see the same thing, right? We've seen this before. But so even as the AP person working in GP, I'm going to have access to the report. I'm going to have access to the receipts if I want them. I probably don't, right? The CFO approved it or the boss approved it. I'm fine with that. That's all I needed to know. I just want to get this thing into GP. So I probably need to go through those steps. But if I want to put a few of these in here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit create, and it's going to take this transaction out, and it's going to create a payable transaction entry, payable to, as you can see, American Express is our vendor. So it's going to create a payable to American Express for $365, and I'm going to assign it to a batch. So if I determine that there's multiple in here that can all go, I'll pick all my Amex ones, right, and move them all out at the same time. I could do that. I could move them all into the same batch. I'm just going to do the one that we've been trending here. 11, or what is that, Mary? 1388. Help me keep an eye on that. So I'm going to send this to, I can probably create a new batch. I'm going to do SAF 4. No, if we have that one yet, I don't think we do. There we go. So that moved it out and sent it right to a batch. Okay, and it would move 1, 10, 15, 100, however many you wanted to put in at one time. And so I'll come here. We'll go to our SAF 4 batch. There it is right there. I'll bring this transaction up, and there we go. $365 payable to American Express. Okay, and so I brought it out. Obviously, put in all the distributions as well. Just going to break all those out for us, right? Put them right in. And then, once again, if I go additional view documents, right, boom, I'm taken right to that same view. We've already seen this a few times now, but I want you to see that even after it's, a transaction is created, we still have visibility back here to the report, okay, to the data. So that's end-to-end solution for, the idea that it's a corporate card statement. Now, then I'm going to go back and do reimbursables. Okay, so because that's a really common one too. So let's say we got, I won't take you guys all the way through because it's pretty similar, but a little different. So now I'm logging in as Sean, the employee. Right? I have my own expense report to do, meaning I spent my own money. I swiped my own Visa card, and the company owes me money for it, and it's end of the month, and I'm going to fill out my sheet. The most common thing I hear these days with both sides of these, really, but especially on this reimbursable one, is, they collect their receipts. We have an Excel spreadsheet that is the expense report form. They go get it. Hopefully they get the current, we have many changes to it recently, and they get the current one, but a lot of times they don't. They get an old one, but they get that Excel spreadsheet. They type it all in with their receipts right next to them. Right, and then they print that out. They paperclip or staple the receipts to that piece of paper, and they walk it over to their boss and get him to sign it. He or she, if she's if they're there, right. If not, they put it on their desk and then hope when the guy comes in, 2 days later, he hasn't lost it and signs it, and they remember to go back and ask him. Right, that's where all this process breaks down. Is the slowness of that, of course, but did the employee save the receipts? Were they able to facilitate the approval from the approver quickly and efficiently, or did something, was there a delay, or did somebody get lost? Did somebody forget to do something in that process, right? Obviously, with business processes, that's where everything breaks down, and it's just so common with expense reports, right? Especially if everybody's under the same roof. What about in a distributed environment these days, which is most of the time, these people that are doing expense reports, a lot of times they work remotely, they're people that travel a lot, so it just complicates the whole solution. So I can, come in here and just click on, I've put my receipts into the system over time, right, over the course of the month. I got them all last month. I snapped a picture of them with my phone, or I just emailed them right in, from email. Here's a Southwest one receipt. There you go. There's one from the, sitting on the table at the restaurant snap photo. This one is sitting on top of my backpack in the airport at Chicago Midway Airport, and just lay it down, snap the photo, send it off, and I got a water and some Altoids. But and then I threw that thing away and I was done. I have to think about it. That's the other beauty of this. You're traveling, you're doing a lot, you're juggling multiple things. I don't have time to worry about receipts. It's one less thing. Get it, snap a photo, throw it away. I'll deal with it when it's time to do my expense report. Well, it's time to do my expense report. So I'm going to add some receipt data to this one. We'll come in here. Really the same thing, everybody. I do have to do date this time. We'll just do today's date because I'm not capturing data off the receipt, but it's really quick and easy. I'll just do sales. We'll do meals. The amount is $9.17, and that's it. I mean, payment type remains reimbursable. Comments if I want to, billable to a client if I want to. There's lots of other fields you could choose to put in, but I'm just going to do that one, and we'll do one other. You have a comment, Mary?
I do actually. I saw that you had a mileage field there. Can you show us what that works like? Oh, look, you got an Uber receipt, so that'd be perfect. You probably had to drive somewhere to get to the airport, right?
What a great story. So let's say last week on the 16th, yes, I went on a trip, right? Now, this is my Uber receipt from that because when I got to Atlanta, when I got to St. Louis, I got to the airport and I came out and I summoned an Uber, right? And I jumped in an Uber and it took me to my hotel. So I got an Uber receipt. That's fine. So that is sales and travel related. Okay, and that's for $26.83. There we go. Okay, so we'll submit that. But you know what happened? When I left my house that morning, I drove to the airport, right? And I put my car in, long-term parking for a few days, right? So I didn't take an Uber. I drove because I live here. So, but the company will reimburse me for mileage. Okay, so I'm still in sales. It's still travel related. But I don't have an amount. I didn't get a receipt. I'm not going to get a receipt, obviously. It's mileage related. But I know that from my house to the airport is 15 miles, right? So I just put that in and I'll see $9, right? So I'm being reimbursed, and obviously there's a calculation that you just put in behind that, and it takes care of that for you. So now on this one trip this morning, I got both sides of the travel, even though I don't have a receipt, taken care of. So I'll submit that, and there we go. So I just, lather, rinse, repeat, as they say, and I just continue to do that. Okay. So if I wanted to, now if I went through all my receipts, I'm just going to do those. I'm going to create a new, see this, hit expense report, drop down, create new, and I'm going to create an expense report. So we'll back this out a week, and we did that. That was our date parameter we did. We're going to call this January reimbursable. That's fine. And I'll hit submit, and it's going to build my expense report. Okay. And there we go, right here. Actually, right here, $45 pending submission. Same thing. We've been through this. You've seen this already. Okay. So it's going to be the exact same experience. I can look at my receipts. I can see that, here's the one that that was broken down, by the way, the two line items, $9.26.83. So same experience. In fact, let's refresh this, and there we go. So I can come here and just say send for approval, right? If I had a problem with it and I need to rebuild it, I could go back and add, I forgot the receipt. I could go back, hit another receipt, come back here, hit rebuild. It'll add that receipt to it. we can just send this right off. And really, it's the same process from here. It's going to go to my boss. He's going to get it. You've seen all that. But there's nothing different there to show, right, Mary, that I would want to highlight necessarily on reimbursables?
Nope. The rest of the process is the same. It's just a little bit more of the difference on the front end experience and the fact that you have to create, with a click of a button. So no, that's awesome.
Okay. Yeah. The one thing I do like, I know on the approvals for reimbursables is the idea that you can approve one but not the other, right? Mm-hmm. So, and if I showed you guys line item approval and rejection. If I had a problem with one of these, I could reject that as the approver, approve everything else, right? We'll move this forward, but if there's a setting where we can build it like this, if you'd like, where we'll put that report on hold, it's going to give the employee the opportunity to respond to the rejected receipt. Meaning I can say, well, okay, and I can delete it and it's gone because, oops, shoot, I don't get reimbursed for that. And then the expense report will continue on its workflow path, okay? But what about if I say, well, no, wait a minute, boss, that should be approved, and here's my excuse. And I put a comment in there and I send it back to him. And he goes, oh, the approver then says, okay, well, I didn't know that. Sure, that's approved, approve. And it'll move forward and join the rest of the report. And then the report will move forward for processing. So there's a little nuance there, but little things that just kind of come up in the real world, if you will, the day-to-day, that actually happens. And so there's more things like that I won't go into the back office details, but things that we can really kind of, plan for different nuances and how your organization handles expense reporting. Okay.
Excellent. Right, thanks.
Yeah, you bet. I will pass it back to you then.
Fantastic.
There you go.
Here we go. Let's hopefully you're seeing the right screen here. There we go. Back on the slides. Awesome. Thanks. So we'll just do a quick recap then of what Sean just shared with us. The simplicity of end-to-end expense management that's also integrated with your ERP system. So we capture the receipts quickly with our phone or email or whatever. We have a little bit of easy online data entry, and then we have the email notification, keeps everybody informed throughout the process. Expense reports get created automatically if they're corporate cards. You click a button and do a date range if they're reimbursable, and then they get submitted with the payable transaction created inside of GP in either case. And then, of course, we started with that credit card reconciliation experience for AP. So the whole process tied together, integrated with your ERP system, makes it super simple for your employees and your back office accounting team. Sean demonstrated very nicely the emails and the notification throughout that, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. But this is a big deal when you think about everybody that's traveling around, inside and outside of the organization, right? That email notification. I don't know about you, but I probably read email on my phone at least as often as I do standing behind my desk. So, many of you can probably relate to that. Certainly the people that are on the road and responsible for sales and consultants and services teams that are often traveling, they probably look at email on their phone even more than that. So what are some of the benefits of tying this all together? Again, you're building that business case, right? You're telling a story in your organization to say, here's why we need to go down this digital transformation path. So from an expense management, once you have begun automating that process, you'll save a ton of time. Research shows that people spend 30 to 40% of their time looking for lost information. So save it on your phone, submit it, you're done. No more searching around for things. Same thing for accounting, they have that visibility. You're going to increase employee satisfaction because they're going to get paid faster and they don't have to create those manual things. The reason we put them off until the end is because nobody wants to sit in front of a computer and line by line, do that data entry into a spreadsheet and then go back to the copy machine and copy all of their receipts. But you can probably all relate. Many of you can probably relate. I used to have to do that for a company that was headquartered in the UK. So imagine the additional delays in that process of getting things across the ocean and back. So, and then from an accounting standpoint, we're decreasing the processing costs because that automatic routing for approval is done in seconds instead of days or weeks. And there's not duplicate data entry needed. The accounting team does not need to go back and recreate those payables transaction entries. And what a time saver for that. And sometimes, this is a quick aside that kind of ties together the AP automation side and the expense management side, sometimes companies pay their, I'll call it corporate, vendor invoices with a corporate credit card. We have a solution that ties those together too in the AP experience as often as the last step for the accounting team once they receive their expense reports from the approvers. So just if there's a scenario that you think of, well, we do it this way with this way and the thing with the thing, that's okay, run it by us, and we'll learn from that experience together, and chances are we've done it with somebody else, or we can work out a solution and configure the solution to work with you. As Sean mentioned, it's purpose-built for expenses, so there's a lot of scenarios that can be accommodated out of the box. And when you think of the audit cycle for an end-to-end expense process, right, you're eliminating the bottlenecks. You're taking away that time that somebody today has to go look in file cabinets and in file folders and find out, hopefully the person, put all of the data on the printed report and has the signatures that Sean mentioned, right? So when you need to audit that data, it's all at your fingertips and you have that visibility from end to end. And then of course that instant reconciliation is a lifesaver and time saver. Let me just tell you what happens here now. Well, now of course, as Sean described, we use Quick Expense, but years ago, before we had this solution, we had our accounting team get the statement from our corporate card, walk over to the copy machine, make copies of the statement, however many for all of those 20 people that have corporate cards, and then cover with paper the parts that didn't apply, so Sean could only see his and I could only see mine, etc., and then route those pieces of paper around to us manually to have to put our codes on, travel, sales, meals, whatever, and then send those back. So think of the time that took, just the accounting person and or one or two people that had to do that every month. So huge time saver there. So all of those benefits of having that end-to-end expense management. Now, again, we showed you AP automation last week, but very similar kind of experience where invoices come straight into the KwikTag work queue. They get edited online and approved either online or in email. Again, seamless integration with GP with the Payable Transaction Entry, just like what Sean just showed you. Now, to kind of tell the rest of the story, and Sean mentioned it when he first began the demonstration, is that for 21 years, KwikTag has been and continues to be a document management system that enables you to go paperless, right? So as you think of the core fundamental nature of that digital transformation, it's make the paper go away. Can I just get documents out of the file cabinets, out of the boxes, into a system that everybody can find, search, share, and manage all of those documents? He mentioned HR. We've shown you expense and AP management if you were here last week as well. So those 75 different screens, even inside of GP, that you can tag, view, and search documents right there in that experience. And then all of the other places outside of GP that your users might need. So think about the people in the GP department, in the AP department that access GP, that need access to documents. They have all of that right here at their fingertips, as well as everybody else throughout the organization if they need it. So they can work, the work queue comes into play for the completion of a process that's been automated. Once it's been approved, if it's in that work queue Sean showed you, you can rest assured that it's gone through one or many levels, however, whatever's required, to be created as a payable transaction entry. And the front end of that experience from an AP standpoint, and where we mentioned that if somebody needs to, in accounting, manipulate any of the codes, maybe the person got it wrong, they picked sales, but they meant services, they were in a hurry, whatever, even for an expense report, that accounting team will have access to do that here before it gets submitted to GP as well. So it ties the whole experience together from end to end. And when you think about then, again, you're trying to leverage as much as possible from a technology and a software and an automation standpoint, but without buying a bunch of different systems, right? You want to be able to do as much as possible with that one system. So KwikTag at the core of this is, again, that document management system supporting the AP automation, the expense management, HR, contracts, legal, sales orders, customer orders, marketing documents, you name it. And KwikTag can support it, and you can just give access to the users that need it. So when you think of a system that can handle all of these different experiences in your organization, KwikTag can be the center of that and take care of all of them. Now, I shared this slide with you as the family snapshot to share with you there's companies of all shapes and sizes and industries that use KwikTag. Now, I couldn't fit all of our customers on this slide, but I'm giving you just kind of a snapshot. You see a lot of different industries: healthcare, financial services, sports and entertainment, even retail, construction, professional services, and the like. So the reason I share that with you is they all struggle with the same challenges we talked about: doing too much manually, approvals take too long, they're spending too much time handling paper and manual processes. So if that's something that you can relate to as well, then let's continue the conversation after this. Here's just a few highlights about KwikTag. Some of you may be familiar with these. For those of you that aren't, we are a Microsoft Development Gold partner, and we've been working with Microsoft for more than, what, Sean, now 15 years or so, 15, 16 years. So we have a long-standing relationship, and we were the first to integrate with the ERP systems, and certainly as deeply as we do within GP, SL, NAV, and AX for that matter, but very deeply from an AP automation standpoint and expense management and all of the end-to-end processes that we've demonstrated for you here within GP. And we have more than 120,000 users around the globe that can share their story and have gone through this process, and so they're in the same situation where they were challenged by these things, and now they have a solution in place that captures their documents, automates their process, and integrates with their ERP system. So with that, I would like to turn it back to Allie for any questions that have come in, and we'll take a couple minutes to let people submit those, and we'll address them, and if, whether that's to Sean or to me, we'll take turns if we need to. So Allie, do we have questions?
We do not have any questions yet, so we shall give a couple more seconds and see if we get anything in.
Awesome, awesome. Well, while people are thinking about that, I'll just share one. Sean, I'll throw this over to you. This is one that I get a lot, and that is the for an expense report, is there a limit to the number of expense reports or lines or anything like that that I can process per month? Lines per expense report or expense reports per month, anything like that for my users?
No. I mean, from a technology standpoint, no, there is no limit. If that's, sometimes we get that as it's related to a pricing question too, and we do not price it that way. We price it per the number of users, but they can do as many expense reports in any given month that they need to.
Got it. Yeah, that's a question that I get quite a bit.
Yeah, I get a lot about project timing too. I know that's a big one. How long does this take? Right?
Yeah, go for it.
And yeah, I mean, you know, a project like this, if we're starting from scratch, putting KwikTag in and then adding expense management, we're probably looking at a good 60 days. You know, is probably a fair estimate on that. We can do it faster than that. Just so you know, that's not so much about us as much as it is about you necessarily. You guys are you got your day jobs, you're running your business, you got things to do. But that's real world. I've been doing this long enough that I like to speak in real world terms. And just what I've seen over the years is, you know, again, that on average, a project like this, you should plan for about 60 days from project kickoff until you're using it happily. And again, if you want to be more engaged and give us a dedicated research, we can probably get it done in half that time. So but just keep that in mind as you're thinking about putting this in place.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean. Any others come in, Ellie?
No, we don't have any questions, but if you guys think of any after the webinar is over, make sure you send out an email to me and let me know, and then I can relay that to Sean and Mary. So I just say thank you guys again for doing this today, and everybody have a great rest of your week.